Good morning. Sorry for the crappy cast, but this is what we're working with right now. Well, that's just what it is. I can't get the lighting right on the green screen either, so I'm still on my desktop. Laptop is still in the shop, so here we are. Had some surprise guests last night. Uh, my brother and my wife collaborated on a surprise birthday dinner and weekend for me. So my brother and my son both showed up from opposite ends of the country, you could say. Um, so they're from out of town. They showed up last night. So we were up until like 1 a.m. just talking war stories and stuff. All of us were military. So yeah, but I drove myself up, got myself up to get here to talk to you all about whatever. Just looking at some stuff on the news. It's pretty interesting. We've got a three videos we put out, canceled by COVID, devolving care, and G Liberty. We've got devolving care in the house. Man, we look bad. Doesn't it look all blurry? I don't know, man.
My hair, it's all flipped up.
Your hair, you need a haircut, dude.
I don't want to.
So I'm going to put the actual YouTube cast over here. I'm trying to make like a bunch of pounding noises and stuff. Wow, that's really, whoa.
Cat was like, no.
Oh, you know what? I need to look at it in the studio is what I need to do. So yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow.
Your birthday's not tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
I thought today was Friday.
Yeah. How'd that be? So how was your devolving care video? Do you think it was pretty cool?
Yeah, without you getting in it.
Without me getting in it, why would I get in it? I'm getting your devolving care videos or your devolving videos.
I know.
I'm not your campaign manager. Okay, we're muted. So yeah, this is in. I need to scoot over so you can fit in.
No.
I sent Evolve a. It's killing the green screen thing is killing me, man. Let me see if I could adjust it a little bit. Okay, there's like a minor adjustment thing I can do.
Vote for
Joe Jorgensen. There you go. Vote for Joe Jorgensen. Her mother passed. Yeah, Joe Jorgensen's mom passed away last Wednesday, I believe, or Tuesday. She took some time off, of course. It's pretty sad for those of us who still have moms. She
okay, don't.
You can't.
Who already voted for Trump? They wasted their vote already.
All right. Kids listen to everything you talk about. I was talking to my brother, and I was saying because he lives in California. We live in Texas. So Texas being, it's predominantly red state. It's Republican. So, and I was saying, what I tell most people when they say, "Oh, voting for Joe Jorgensen, that's a waste of vote." If you vote for Joe Jorgensen, then you're just voting for Trump. Or if you vote for Joe Jorgensen, you're just voting for Biden. Because you hear it from both sides. And what I tell them is, if you're voting for Trump in California, you're wasting your vote because the Republican hasn't won California in centuries, whatever. And if you're voting for Biden in Texas, then you're wasting your vote. So you might as well vote your conscience. Might as well vote for who you believe best represents you. And for most people, that would be Jo Jorgensen, because she just basically represents individual liberty. So, voting for the person who best represents you, who's not an authoritarian and who's not trying to develop a socialist society. So, what's that talk about?
I don't know.
Me neither. Just on here for the people. Just wrap it up. That's it. Thank you very much, KIP. No? Well, like you do? You didn't do it last time, did you? You didn't do the poof.
And the demonic.
No, yeah, forgot or what? What's your brother?
His mom
Oh, okay.
was mom too.
So I was looking through some news, trying to find something that was significant, libertarian-wise, and so I found this thing that Trump is. It's a small story. I don't know how much. So I don't watch the news. I know it's weird. Here I have a podcast or whatever and talks about news and politics, but I don't really watch the news. That's how I stay sane, I guess. But it says the White House wants to cancel wants to revamp federal agencies' racial sensitivity training, casting them as sensitive and un-American, saying that now this is what is interesting. It's talking about canceling the contracts because they're spending millions of dollars on these trainings that are divisive, un-American propaganda training sessions. And I guess it's some kind of racial sensitivity training. So this is one of those things that sounds like, it would be, how would you say? Oh, it's a good idea, in theory, but it's costing millions of dollars of taxpayer money. Now, the question I always ask is, and people are like, well, we should have some kind of racial training to our federal employees or whatever. Some people may say that. I don't think so. I don't think it's really necessary because the training doesn't matter if you're racist. It's not going to change your mind. That I went through it in the Army. It's not, it's something you sit down and, watch a video or somebody stands up and talks for an hour and it's costing millions of dollars, right? So the training doesn't really work anyways, because if you're racist, you're still going to be a racist. So, and if you're not, you're not. But the thing is would you pay for it? You know what I mean? Would you, if you had to, if it came down to these federal systems or these government systems, taxpayer funded systems, agencies, organizations, would you pay for it out of your pocket? I mean, would you be like, I believe that this is so important. Here's my $10 or here's my $1, whatever it costs, right? Would you pay for it voluntarily? You know what I mean? If because the government takes your money, without your choice, forcibly, if they have to, through your taxes or whatever, and spends it however they want. Well, I ask, my thing is, if it's that important, would you pay for it voluntarily? So, and I think that's one of those things. It's like, no, no, because if you look at the cost to benefit ratio, which the government never does because the cost doesn't matter, businesses do it all the time, cost to benefit ratios, especially when it comes to marketing and stuff like that, or whether they're going to invite it and invest in a new product or whatever. It's always cost benefit ratio. But the government doesn't do that because they're not spending their own money, they're spending your money. So they don't do cost benefit ratio. So if you look at the cost, millions of taxpayer dollars to what the benefit is basically just forcing our government workers to sit through an hour of, racial awareness training or something. And everybody has to do it because But when it comes to a government system, it has to be a shotgun blast. It can't be, oh, just white people have to attend. No, that's not how the government works. So it's everybody. So not only do they miss out on, whatever productivity they get done during that time, but then you have to actually pay for the training, and it's millions of dollars. So the cost benefit ratio probably not very high. And like I said, if you really need some racial sensitivity training, then you probably are a racist, and it's probably not going to help you anyways. That's not going to change your mind. So all it really is a check the block from the federal government that says, hey, we are trying to do something, and it's absolutely has no effect. So just one of those things I was reading about that I would share. Yeah, just looking through some other news stories. Oh, white privilege is one of the white privilege is, this is the headline that the Newsweek is trying to grab your attention on. This white privilege among un-American theories to be banned in federal programs. Of course, that's a totally biased headline, and basically it's what I said. They want to cancel this training because they don't see it as actually helping, but being a divisive tool, and it's for federal employees, really. So, and there's no sense of, and you got to cut spending somewhere. So, yeah, the Guardian says Trump orders crackdown on federal anti-racism training, calling it anti-American. But he won't let the Pentagon close the Stars and Stripes newspaper. Nobody reads that thing, man. It's been around for forever. He reversed the Department of Defense order. I wonder why they were trying to shut it down anyways, besides the fact that nobody's reading it. That's probably why. Stupid. Daily Mail is so biased, man. About nearly all Black Lives Matter protests are peaceful despite Trump's narrative, report finds. This is the Guardian again. About 93% of racial justice protests in the U.S. have been peaceful. Of course, there's like some of them are like 10 people on a street corner in some podunk town in Indiana or something. So it's not really a matter of how many of them are peaceful. It's a matter of the violence that some of them have. What's the causing them, and from what I've heard from very reliable sources, is that there's actually instigators that are planted in there, and they don't seem to be from the city that they're protesting in, which is interesting. So they're like planted. Who's planting them? You know what I mean? And they're instigating the hostilities, like, hey, let's go rush them, stuff like that. Oh wow. Antifa activist was lying in wait before fatal shooting of a pro-Trump demonstrator. Politics is politics is pretty disgusting in the U.S., man. It's politics, people. It's where we get to choose who's governing us. It's where we get to choose who's making laws. It's not about some kind of team sport crap, man. I don't get it. Hmm. I heard Corona's back. Whoa. The New York Times, coronavirus shatters India's economy. What is this picture of? No, I don't want to sign that. I don't want to take your survey either. Let's see how much of this will actually let me read. Yeah, I'll put it up for you too. This is how does this one look? Oh, it's like that. Let me go small. Yeah, this is New York Times, but I don't understand what this picture is of. Looks like loons or something. It's interesting. But anyways, this guy's last name is Gentleman. The hit that India's dreams have taken from the coronavirus pandemic we found the hushed streets of Surat's industrial zone. Huh? That's textile mill. That was close, Pat. Yeah. To build an house, buttering and egg, about a tenth of the fabric they used to make. You know, the lean faces of families who used to sew the finishing touches aside. Now they're cutting back on food. Man, yeah, mobile phone stores, barber shops, shoppers were deserted as their New Year savings dwindled to nothing. So I guess India shut down their economy too, huh? See that smoke? Exactly. See smoke coming out of it. Not so long ago. I'm tired. So what is causing this economic devastation? India's economy has shrunk faster than any other major nations. As many as 200 million people, which is almost the entire population of the United States, could slip back into poverty. People too frightened of the outbreak to venture far. So people are so scared. The media has propagated a virus to the point of such fear that people are afraid to go outside, to shop, to work. Much of the damage was caused by the lockdown imposed by the Prime Minister Modi, which experts now say was at times both too tight and too porous, both hurting the economy and spreading the virus. India now, you get to pull it up. It's too tight. So as soon as they reacted, no matter what they did, it was wrong because it was too tight and too porous. So in other words, it locked down the economy too hard that it crashed the economy, but it wasn't enough to stop the virus. So everybody's still dying from the virus. The intent has always been to flatten the curve anyways, which is still kind of a ridiculous intent as it is. I never agreed with that either. We just have to fight this thing as human beings. We can't stop our lives because now these things are causing these government interventions to try to somehow solve the problem of this virus is killing more people and causing more devastation to people's lives than the virus itself. I mean, even my wife's own aunt hasn't left the house in months, and this is like they're always traveling somewhere and stuff. Hasn't left the house, so now they're depressed, and elderly people. It's like Because they're afraid of getting this virus. You know, they're afraid of living their lives, so they're sitting in their homes dying. You know, they look at suicide rates and substance abuse rates and depression rates and domestic violence rates and child abuse rates, and all these things are going through the roof. At the same time, you're destroying your own country's economy, when in the past it has never been that way. I don't even think the Spanish flu, they shut down the economy. Yeah, people were running around with masks and all that stuff, but just forcing businesses to close, forcing people out of work, and then trying to bail them out, it's like a double whammy of the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? Because so you're going to take more money, taxpayer money, or borrow more money into your economy, which hurts your economy also, in order to pay people to fund businesses because they're out of work. That's crazy. Hey, what's up, Inspired? I give you. No, man. We force you to do devolving care. Do we force you to do it? Like, man, you got to do this video, dude, or else you have to do devolving care.
No.
You like shooting videos?
You did.
I did what? I did.
Nothing.
Huh?
You did nothing.
I didn't. I didn't have anything to do with that video. I did G Liberty though. Shot the G Liberty at the same time. Remember, we had to swap flags. Your G Liberty video.
Yeah.
Were you forced to do that video? Or did you want to do it?
I wanted to do it.
No. Did you want to do your devolving care video? No. Nobody can hear you. You can't see your face, dude.
Right.
So did we force you to do did we ever force you to do videos?
No.
No. You like shooting videos.
My mom took away my glasses.
She took them off of your face because you fell asleep in the car coming home last night.
I did.
Stop. Stop that too, because you squeak, man. Everybody hears it. Should put some music on, but then you probably couldn't hear me. So there you go. Answered your questions. Oh, I should show that. Boom. See that. But anyways, let's continue with this story. With more than 80,000 new infections reported each day. Look at a population of 3 billion people, though. I mean, population that's like 10 times the size of the United States. Sense of malaise is creeping over the nation. So the economic growth was slowing even before the pandemic. So what was causing the slowing before the pandemic? Social divisions are wide. Anti-Muslim feelings are on the rise, probably because of malicious social media campaign that falsely blamed Muslims for spreading the virus. I remember that. Yeah, China came out of China or something like that. And then you got the Chinese, trying to butt in at your borders. Lost, listless, wounded, rudderless, unjust. The ability to survive has been smashed. And the pieces are all up in the air. You don't know where they are going to fall. Mr. Modi's local radio. He does a weekly radio show, huh? That's pretty cool. He acknowledged that India is fighting on many fronts. He urged people to maintain social distancing, wear masks, and keep hale and hearty. I don't understand what that means. Hale and hearty. Oh. That's the one thing that they got going is India is still a pretty young nation as far as like average age is concerned. Still really young, so. Yeah, the thing is with especially with this administration not liking China, disliking China as much as Trump does, it definitely opens the door for other countries with manufacturing facilities and stuff to provide, because the United States is this massive consumer in the world. I mean, so, as long as he doesn't start, forcing tariffs on every country. So, it looks like textiles also, but I like, what are they making buttons or something? I don't know. This one guy right here is looking at the camera. Somebody taking a picture of me. And I don't know how these people work with masks on all the time. So, section was slipping last quarter. The Indian economy shrank by 24%, while China's is growing again because China opened back up again. They said we are done with this. People are going to die. We're going to, can't do anything about that. So we are not going to shut our economy down anymore. This is probably the worst situation India has been in since independence. People have no money. Investors aren't going to invest if there's no market. Open the country back up. Let people go back to work. Let people take their own risks. Some people would rather risk the virus to get paid and feed their country. I'm the sleep. Oh, he popping in, huh? Oh, do I have my banner up? There we go. Boom. Yeah. What's up? He's still in bed, dude. I actually had to get up. And so I had to get up.
So,
Like, where do you go? They think that we forcing the kids to do these videos like some kind of slave labor or something.
oh, is that's the new drama thing.
Yeah, yes. I don't know. No, I haven't heard nothing from drama, but
Okay,
from
what's
his buddy
happening,
on
everyone?
Twitter, from his buddy on Twitter, I got this. Did I show you that one? The tweet
What's
that I got,
that? Nah,
the last tweet I got,
nah.
he unblocked me. Just to
Oh
tweet
yeah, I
something.
remember he unblocked you. I seen it, and he said
So
the
he says,
bigotry.
yeah. So I started posting about, I kept posting those scriptures trying to help this person with their depression and stuff. So they said, I'm going to block you for a while. Nothing personal. And yeah,
Right.
he blocked me. So I was just sharing scripture, so, the last one, for I know plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for peace and not for evil, to give you a
It's good
future and a
stuff.
hope. Uplifting scriptures. And he's like, you can
I
stop.
know.
I'm never going to stop scripture. So, he
Oh,
said,
you
I'm going to
brought the
block you for a
word. He
while.
didn't want the word. He wanted you to entertain with
I
that
mean,
hate.
isn't that what we're supposed to do? Is like my pastor always says, you got to put the word on it.
No,
Put the
that's
word.
good stuff.
So, but
That's good stuff.
he unblocked me. He unblocked me and said, I know you wrote that Devalving Care episode. It was filled with so much hate towards Obama. To bring your kid in on this bigotry is not okay. Shame.
Bigotry.
so, to be honest now, he just called you a bigot.
Mm. Yeah,
'Cause that is you.
I wrote that, guys. I mean, yeah, you
I
gave
know.
you gave those adverb lines that we needed to hit on a little bit more powerful on the Obamacare and showcase it, but the script was writ. Yeah, I probably read it
Yeah.
in like 3 minutes too. Like I think you went in the kitchen, then when you came back, I was like, hey, I got a script here.
I just wanted to add some. I just
Yeah,
added a little bit of the, what makes government ran healthcare not work. That I wanted
right.
to add things to it.
Which
So.
It made the video. He's like, I don't care
That's
who I
how.
gotta show. I love that part. He throws his head, stomps
So
his.
did you catch the beginning of the podcast here?
I didn't. Yep. So the last 2 minutes when you read Kill Liu's message, I was just getting up. I was waking up and I seen he said, "Hey, where's the Evolve?" And I was like, you know what? Let me pop in before I pop out a bit. So this is
So
bedtime podcast. Maybe the next podcast you should be in your bed. I'm in my bed, and we're starting a new genre of bedtime podcast.
it's like a podcast. Do it like at 4 a.m. or something. Well, I got a full house.
Right.
I got a full house now. I heard you were in on the secret.
Yeah, and happy birthday.
Right. She
Hey.
my brother's
Mm,
girlfriend took a video. I seriously, like, I gotta tell this to you, man. I walked into Carlos and Nikki's. I walked into the restaurant, right? So we're supposed to meet there at 7. I got there about 7:15 because it was packed, right? Um, so I walk in and we got the big table right in the middle of the little main room right there when you first walk in. And I
right,
noticed walking up to the table. It's the first thing I noticed as we're walking up. I noticed that the food there's chips and drinks at the table still, and I was like, oh man, they didn't clean up yet. I thought they didn't clean up after the last people or whatever. And then I look
right.
up, so I look up, and I first looked right at my brother. Didn't even click right, and then I look over. I was like, wow, that looks
Hey,
like. And honestly,
you're like, hey,
the first thing that popped into my head was like, man, I really am getting old, man, because I could swear that's Sandra. For a
that's
second,
hilarious.
that's where my mind went was like, man, you're losing it, dude.
Man, am I seeing things? Mirage, come on, get it
And then
together. I
I'm
need
like,
some sleep.
what the hell are you guys doing here? Because literally, I had no idea. Because we don't ever hardly do anything but for my birthday. It's just like I'm like whatever. It's not a big deal. So,
Same way.
yeah. So we um, it's funny because we went to Chewy's daughter's birthday party, right? And we were like
Oh,
2 hours
okay.
because he told me 6 o'clock. It actually started at 4, so we got there like a half an hour before it ended. And I was like, I showed him. He's like, oh man. He's like, I'm sorry, I sent you the wrong time, man. He's like, I'll make it up to you. I'll take you all out to dinner on Friday.
Oh,
So I was,
all right.
because we hadn't hung out in a long time, so I was like, yeah, cool. So I thought it was just us hanging out with Chewy and Val, and yeah, sure.
Right.
So I had absolutely no clue whatsoever. I was
That's cool. That's
and that's
dope.
hard to do. To me. That's that's hard to
Yeah,
do.
I know Lou was setting it up for a while now, and she sent out the message and shit. Let me know on Monday, and I was like, that's dope. Hey, ain't gonna expect that. Make sure it don't get out though.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. It's actually my brother's idea though. So
Oh, really? Oh,
mm,
nice.
it was
That's
like,
awesome.
so he's got the week off. He's like, his week off in the summer actually
Oh,
fell
okay.
uh, on my birthday. So he's like, he wanted to come out, but I had all those conventions and everything I was going to, so wasn't sure whether he would make it or not. And then
Right.
since all that was done, him and Lou were talking, I guess, and yeah, so they worked it all out. So he said, I'll come out, and she just ran with it. So she called Josh, and Josh was like, yeah, I can.
So
Like he's been doing really good at
that's
his work,
great.
so they hooked him up.
Hey,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So anyways, no, the
Um,
story just before that, before I started talking about India, um, was was about Trump canceling some race related training, federal training, which was interesting. Did you
uh,
ever hear about that?
I didn't hear about that. What's going on with that? Whatever Trump does, it
So
always
he's
fascinates me.
saying he's saying that this racial training is. Uh-oh, we lost Evolve. Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. It's actually tomorrow. Um, I'm just trying to finish up the article. It's funny because here we go again. A few years ago, the economy was expanding, and then Mr. Modi took power in 2014 on a tide of Hindu nationalism. They felt their nation had finally found the forceful leader to match their aspirations. But he's concentrated his energies on divisive ideological projects like a new citizenship law that blatantly discriminates against Muslims, or tightening the government's grip over the mostly Muslim region of Kashmir. So the economic growth has been dropping from 8% in 2016 to 4% right before. Sounds like y'all elected an authoritarian dictator, kind of like us. 4% right before the pandemic. 4% would be respectable for a developed country like the United States, but in India, the level is no match for the millions of young people streaming into the workforce each year, hungry for their first job. Yeah, man. Get your hands out of it. See, and then the worse it gets, the problem with government intervention is the worse it gets, the more they want to intervene. So, let me go back to sharing the screen, I guess. So, yeah, so that's the problem with that. The impulsiveness emerged 40 years ago. He suddenly wiped out nearly 90% of India's paper currency to tap down corruption and encourage digital payments. Economists cheered both goals. They say the way sprang this move on India did long-lasting damage to the economy. So now they're just going boom, blaming everything on the government. Shut down the economy. He ordered all Indians to stay indoors on March 24th. He shut down the economy, offices, factories, roads, trains, borders between states, just about everything with 4 hours notice. Oh, man. Tens of millions of Indians lost their jobs instantly. Many worked in factories or on construction sites or in urban homes, but they were migrants from rural India. Fearing they would starve to death in city slums, millions poured out of the urban centers and walked, rode bicycles, or hitched rides back to their villages. Epic reverse migration from city to countryside that India had never seen. That dragged coronavirus into every corner of this country of 1.3 billion people. I thought it was 3 billion, but anyways. Back on it, many economists trace the root of India's interlocking crisis, spiraling infections, and a devastating economy to this moment. So do you see how the government intervening with the best of intentions ends up having the reverse effect and because it's forcing people to react to some kind of intention from the government, which forces them to, like, hey, you've got 4 hours notice, we're locking everything down. And everybody's like, well, crap, if I'm not working, I can't buy food. I'm going to starve to death if I'm competing against all these other people that are starving for food in the major cities. So I'm heading back to my village where at least I have crops or I can grow food. So he's woke now. So yeah, so I went back onto India, man. It's this article is really interesting. He's putting his headphones on. Anyways, but
Yo,
man, it's a perfect example of this is just a perfect example of why government
dang, I missed all of
intervening
that.
doesn't help. The India thing, yeah. India's in bad shape, and it boils down to government intervention. So the thing is so what would have happened if the government hadn't done anything? Would more people die? Probably not, because the virus is going to kill these people anyways. So chances are, I mean, it's a sad fact, but people are going to die.
Uh,
You know what I mean? So it's
that's
just a
true.
matter of when. Some people, so that's the thing. That's what sucks now is that we're never going to know how much affected that unless you compare it to like the flu virus of 1968. But I would say in 1968 in the United States, at least, that flu virus killed millions worldwide also, but it killed over 100,000 people in the United States at a time when we were much healthier as a country than we are now. Now we're the
Exactly.
obesity capital of the world. Back then we were still pretty healthy because we weren't so focused on, fat's bad. We hadn't condemned fat yet in 1968. So, which fat is not bad. So fat's actually really good for you. It's
Yeah,
actually necessary. If you don't eat fat,
yeah,
you'll die.
we're definitely better off as a country. I can say we make better choices and stuff now, somewhat. So
But
we know more.
not in our eating habits, that's for sure, or our health habits. Because you're getting some chips, right? Having some chips for breakfast. But we never get sick. So I mean, I don't bother you. I don't bother you. Like my
Oh
brother,
man.
he's the same way. He doesn't get sick either. He's a mailman. He was talking. We got to get him on the podcast on Tuesday. You know what I mean? We got to get him on.
There you go. But
I was
speaking of
thinking,
India, have you heard from
from who?
Bruno?
No, he hasn't jumped on this morning. You can't see chat.
Oh no, I can't.
Oh, I got to remember to do this. See this? Boom. So what do you see? Do you see the studio?
I see you. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, I see
You
you. I
don't.
see the podcast.
Oh, so you can see the screen. The screen I'm sharing.
Oh yeah, I do see. Yeah, I see the Indian report. I
Yeah.
do see the article. It's big. Yeah, it looks good. It looks tight. You working this thing, man.
Yeah, people are scared to go out. See, and that's the thing is even without the government's intervention, people would have still operated in a sense of fear. A lot of people wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
went out. A lot of people wouldn't have went to work. A lot of people would have, said, "Hey, my life's more important. I'm just going to go, get on unemployment, file for welfare. I'm staying home. I'm not dealing with corona, whatever." Or,
Yep.
at a very minimum, you could have offered some help without shutting down the economy and forcing people out of work. I mean, I'm sorry, but
That's true.
I
I
see.
mean,
I don't know if it's just something I'm noticing now, but there's a lot of people there's a lot of closed businesses like for lease
like
sign.
permanently.
Yeah,
And you
you're
know
out.
what? And it's so weird. I hate to cut you off, but one big thing that I seen happening here in El Paso, and it made me think, man, is there some type of conspiracy of someone actually, but it seemed like someone was capitalized on this. But there is this apartment complex on Dyer. There's 3 apartment complexes that shut down. One was beside my brother's church on Dyer, and then there's another one on Dyer and Trans Mountain right when you turn. And then there's another one a little further, like you're going out of the Northeast. But there's these 3, and they all shut down like 2 months ago. But right now they're all under they all have new management. They all say new management, pets allowed, all this stuff. And the funny thing is that the new management that they're all under is the same company. It's the same company for all 3. Like this company went and bought out all 3 of these during this COVID. If you look, they're all under new management by the one company. It's
Mhm.
weird. So I'm like, wow, they got shut down because and they had kicked tenants out like 2 months ago, and they shut down the apartment
Did the-
complex,
did
and
the-
then this new hero comes in. The new hero, the new champion comes in, like, I got you. And
that new
they're
hero
all
is some kind of corporate
so
mega
dismissed.
company.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
was
thing.
like,
That's what I was telling. I don't know if you were there. But I was talking about how with the economic shutdown, how all these small businesses and family-owned businesses and stuff were closing down for good. And what's going to happen is, the mega corporations are going to sweep up all that real estate, because that's what it's all about, is
yep.
the real estate. So it's like I know you see Starbucks and 7-Elevens and stuff start popping up all over the place where these small businesses were, or the entire strip mall's gone, and they'll be building another, I don't know, whatever, Walmart or something.
Yeah, it's so insane. Like they,
Bezos has got the money for it.
just looked ordained, man. It was pretty bad.
So I wonder who's
but yeah, it's funny how
Yeah.
fear take more lives than war at times. It's crazy, man. I mean,
yeah,
we've I think we had, I don't know if we were off it's a little bit off topic, but I don't know if we were off, because I was talking to another friend of mine. I think we were on the podcast doing this, or it probably was off of it, but we were just talking about war, and yeah, we were on, because you were like, what war? What war? What war? Yeah, because we were on. Yeah. So I was talking to a friend, and because he was talking about, he had said he had watched the podcast, and he said, hey, why didn't you bring up the Iraq and and the Afghanistan war that we're in, when he was asking about what war and whatnot. And we lost a lot of people, all of our people, they're all over there, and need to be over there. But anyway, he just continued that conversation. And one of the things that came to me that I brought up, and I don't even know if you know, and resurgence. So mercenaries, we we bought, and I didn't know until I looked into this now, but it came to me when I was talking to him. I was like, them are not all of our people. When you're fighting a resurgence, war, you need, as far as the American people, American soldiers, you can't fight it just with especially when you're doing national. We bought a lot of mercenaries, to fight that war in Afghanistan. And then when it's at $9 in resurgence to fight, most of them are their people. If you look it up, $9 billion we spent to fight Afghanistan, and a lot of people. We spent billions and billions of dollars and mercenaries to fight that war, help our people, because we need.
Apparently we have trillions to throw around.
Oh, you bubble.
So apparently we have trillions of dollars to throw around.
Right. Yeah. So that was an interesting fact, but I'm off of it. That just came to me. Yeah. Well, and I looked at the numbers.
Iraq and Afghanistan is we've never declared war against Iraq, and we never declared an actual declaration of war. We declared war on terror, which is an idealism, which you can't declare war on an idea. You have to declare war on another country. So, but there's never been because after 9/11, you couldn't. Why would you declare war on Iraq? That isn't even where Osama bin Laden was from, the mastermind behind 9/11. So that's what's just kind of weird, is how do we end up in Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11 when Osama bin Laden was the leader of Al Qaeda, who claimed responsibility for the 9/11 attacks? He's actually Saudi Arabian. But Saudi Arabia is an ally, so I guess we can't attack them. So we just shotgun blast and hit Iraq and Afghanistan. So then we just made those two countries. And yeah, we invaded those countries. For what reasons? Because they're harboring terrorists? there's probably terrorists harbored right here in our own country. So are we going to just invade our own country now and go after terrorists in every other country? Because there's probably terrorists everywhere, at
Right.
some little small cells or whatever you want to call it. But, so there's no real justification because there was never actually a war declared. Congress, basically running off of emotion, just got together after 9/11, was like, we're bombing somebody. Somebody's getting bombed.
Right.
Crashed airplanes into our buildings. Somebody's going to die. So,
And the more I looked at one of the crazy facts that I looked at how much they were getting paid. They were getting paid the more. I didn't know mercenaries, they get paid a lot more than actual people in service, and they get paid as almost officers. It's they were the numbers. I looked at what a soldier, anywhere between like 1,500 a month, between 1,500 to about $8,000 a month can get paid. But then, I looked at the mercenaries, and man, some of them were taking 10 to 20K a month for wars. They were saying it's something to look into. It was, and I've never. It wasn't the amount of money
because they're not.
We still rent armies today.
Yeah, they're not, and it's funny because those mercenaries wouldn't be bound by the same rules and regulations that soldiers would be. So we got that the escalation of force training, and what do they call it? This one was called the non-aggression principle, but no, rules of engagement. We have rules of engagement that we got to memorize. I bet you their ROE is a little bit different than what the standard soldier is going through. And if a soldier does something stupid, then it's national news. If one of those mercenaries does something stupid, then I don't know who that was.
No, they blame it. And a lot of you got to think with us hiring $9 billion in mercenary, a lot of the stuff that we heard that that was being done. You got to think that some things that they do, it will come back on America. Look what America did to the Afghanistan people. Look, there's this story and this story that probably wasn't even, our army, just because of, you said things like that, our training, but they're not trained in that discipline. I mean, it's when you're renting an army, the way I see it is that, man, there's so many cons than pros at times, because I think, hey, they're only bound, they don't have any morals or ethics in either side of this war. So, hey, if Afghanistan, y'all want to pay us more, then all right, let's get the American. Right? So, I mean, and then say the war is getting really bad, like really bad. Hey, because our morals and our ethics and our love and our patriotism to this cause, they don't have that. Mercenaries don't have that. So, you know what? We out. Y'all do good. While Americans, they're gonna sit. I mean, there's so many concept mercenaries, and then you got to think, they're getting $10,000, and then the spoils of war. You got to know that they're taking a lot more than that. And I mean, I don't know. I've never been in a war, but I would think, if I was a mercenary, so many. I mean, it's so many advantages for me, and them are some of the few. And I think that if me being a leader, me being a CEO, and hiring and renting an army, I would think of all of these things. I was like, ooh, ouch. But then again, they're not my own.
I think more into the details. Like, I wonder how they're organized. Are they attached to units under a commander's guidance, or are they a separate unit in themselves? Do they have their own hierarchy? Who do they answer to? Who do they take orders from? That's the stuff that I'd be interested in. I worked with civilian contractors, on deployment and stuff.
Okay.
And most of them are former U.S. military. At least the ones I worked with were former Green Beret or Navy SEALs and stuff like that. And they were over there as civilian advisors or contractors, but they didn't engage. the enemy in any way or like patrol or anything like that. So,
Yeah, it's just
but a mercenary force is, you know, a totally different concept. So yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
But it's, you know, why are we there anyways? What are we trying to accomplish? What is our
Trying to
goal?
accomplish.
What is our ultimate goal? You know, that's the thing we talked about the last time is, you know, establish a, you know, through violent means, establish a peaceful society that usually doesn't.
Society and government. Yeah, since he's trying to establish a government, they don't have a real government, and that's why terrorist
You
groups
don't
are created.
you don't need thousands of soldiers to establish a government. You just don't. You know, they usually will establish themselves. You know, we were talking about this last night. We're talking about hell on
Hey,
wheels.
don't you got another Marine in the household right now? Why don't you get him on? Tell him wake
Who?
up. Ain't
Who?
is Josh there?
Yeah, he's here, and they're all sleeping, man. We were
Oh,
up
they
till like
all.
4 in the morning telling war stories. So, but yeah, that show Hell on Wheels, it showed like when they were building the railroad going out west, and like the government couldn't reach out there. They didn't have that reach, so like these little cities and stuff were popping up, and there was no, you know, government established. So the societies actually established their own government. So they had their own leaders, their own rules. They just made their own society, and they were doing just fine. And then the U.S. government came in there and was like, oh no, you know, this guy's going to be your mayor. You know, and they're like, whoa, 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 we got our own thing going on.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You know, we're social creatures, and as humans, we're kind of going to, you know, want to organize and have some kind of order. So,
Right.
Traveling Man says what the government tells what it is doing is usually not what is really what they are doing. Absolutely right. Most of the time. Why is that? You know, national security or something. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean,
but that's all we can really go off of is what they're telling us. You know what I mean? Unless you're actually there, which I've talked to people that were actually there, but you can't really verify that information either. So, you know, I know there's some conspiracy theories out there about like Afghanistan is one of the biggest opium producers in the world. They got massive poppy out there, and
I
you
didn't
know,
know that.
yeah, there's a big opium. Well, opium and heroin. I think the actual beginning process begins in those poppy fields. So you know, there's a lot of money and stuff that goes into war, and then I think a lot of it has to do with the whole military-industrial complex. You know, these massive corporations and stuff that are government funded. You know, or defense contractors and stuff like that. Defense contracts like Boeing and Lockheed and, you know, Raytheon. You know, I don't know, there's 6 or 7 these huge billion-dollar corporations that have these massive defense budgets that would just go away if you got rid of Iraq and Afghanistan. If you just brought our troops home and went in a completely defensive posture like we should be, like a normal country would, you know, then though we could downsize our military and, you know, salvage a bunch of stuff, and you know, those contracts would at a minimum, you know, shrink significantly. So those corporations would lose billions of dollars, you know.
I don't know. I'm just convinced that every single president, no matter how great, no matter how good, every single president and even the officers, as far as the United States, because we are such a superpower when it comes to our defense, when it comes to our military. I am convinced that no one wants to take a defense. I mean, we have so many toys and whatnot that every president, every officer, they can't wait. They want to fight. There's no way we're just gonna sit like, look at all these toys and stuff we got. They can't wait. Trump, Obama, everybody, every president, every officer, they want to get. We've got so much stuff. We want to showcase it when you got that stuff. Like,
man. Look at
Right.
oh no, let me see if I can find a picture of this thing, man. This thing is wicked looking. I'm talking about
Yeah,
toys. I
like
gotta go.
we want to showcase. And while you look for that, let me just say that I don't believe anything. If something happens with regards to government and war or anything with regards to government, it was definitely planned and it was definitely supposed to happen. Someone made it happen. I don't believe things just happen. I believe, and that goes even with COVID and Corona. I believe whatever happens in government and it impact, it was support. They wanted it to happen. Someone wanted it to happen, and it was.
Look
It
at
just
this
does.
toy. Look at this toy.
Okay, wait, it's still loading right now. Oh, there we go. Oh shoot, what the world is that?
That's a stealth destroyer.
Oh wow,
It's a stealth
that thing, man, that looks like one of my airplane things I used to make when I was in grade school. I used to make some amazing airplane. I used to, yo, this is real life though.
It's a stealth destroyer. That's
So
a ship, a
wow,
destroyer that's stealth.
a destroyer to find this. That is too cool. See, we got all these cool. We want to test this stuff. We can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm convinced. I'm convinced. There's no way. Like, oh man, that is cool. That is cool. I mean, I'm just looking. Listen, I'm not even an officer. I'm not even the president, and I'm just looking at that. I was like, oh, I want to see that in action. That's dope. So I can imagine. so, so you can imagine someone that put their work into it. Mm, that's insane. It was my breakfast. That's insane.
Oh, and then I just found an article here from 2016 that says new Navy destroyer breaks down en route to San Diego. This thing cost the repairs to the the ship cost $4.4 billion to build. 4.4 billion. One ship. One of these ships cost $4.4 billion.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm talking about? That's the
Man.
military industrial complex. These are defense contracts that build these things. That's $4.4 billion per ship.
$4 billion.
Yep.
Man. So someone palmed that ship, they can make a whole state rich. Give everyone, man.
I know, right?
That's insane.
$4 billion.
You can for a whole community with $4 billion with your just shit.
You could give,
just give us a shit.
You could give
Give our
$4. You could give $4 to every citizen of the second largest country in the world, which is India. You could give $4 to each of them for
Right.
I don't know how much you could give to, let's see what for how much one ship cost every American in the country. Let's see, we got 330 million. So 4.4, I can't do it like that. I gotta do 4 million, 4 or 4 billion, 4 million. That's a lot of zeros, man. This is taking me a while. That's 4
Hear you. Okay.
billion, 400 million. Okay. So divided by 330, 330 million. That costs $13.3 per American citizen. So I mean, you could have got
wow.
lunch or breakfast for the cost. Every American citizen could have had one good meal for the price of that ship.
Boom. That's shit. That's insane. That's funny. War. Yeah, I'm convinced, man. I'm convinced. That's why we make all this stuff. They got anti this, anti helicopter, anti missile, man, stuff that fights the anti system. Man, It's crazy. You
Oh,
can't
wait.
tell me they don't want. Everybody's pushed. I wanted. I had a plan. Either and it didn't come to. Wait, are you frozen? Or am I? Okay, never mind. No, it says speaking of war, I started a script and I was gonna get with you. It was a war on because once I start researching more into the mercenaries and stuff like that, another one kind of like what we did with the devolving care, it came to my mind with regards to war and because he was going to be fighting this war on bullying and how he's going to send people into these different schools. He's just going to send and take over the different schools, whether you want him there or not. So the speech is going to go kind of what we're doing in war. We just send the people out there.
Y'all see where the ideas come from, right?
So we're just going to send the people out there and take over these schools and going to set a whole he's going to set a whole new anti-bullying plan for these schools, and he's going to keep his troops in there until this bullying plan until the school. So I was gonna shoot on Friday. I didn't get it, and I got busy. I was gonna contact you after their because I figured Friday would probably be better because it's not a school night.
Because that's the thing is our military is supposed to be over there to end terrorism, right? But terrorism will never end, especially when we have soldiers that are there. All you're doing is creating more enemies by being an invading force in somebody else's country. So you're creating terrorists just with you being there. So like with the bullying thing, it's like you're not going to eliminate bullies by being a bully. You know what I mean? So being in the school forcibly making people not be bullies is not going to end bullying,
It's just going to make people mad.
And that's what a lot of people, and people don't like to hear this, but we are the terrorists to a lot of people in these other countries. Like to a lot of Afghans and Iraqis, we are the terrorists. The U.S. are the terrorists. So yeah, I see what you're doing there. It's pretty interesting to put that into perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the plan. It'd be cool. It'd be cool. So, what's the plan, man? Let me see if I can. All right, no, I can't bring it up. Anyway, so what is your what is this chat button? I like this schoolyard. Nah, playing around with your chat button here. Give me a sec.
Chat button.
Yeah, I got a chat button, but no, that's not for chat. That's for me. I thought it would bring up the StreamYard. And do I sound pretty clear? I'm on this.
Oh yeah, you sound perfect. You break a little bit. You broke up a little bit a couple times, but not really that bad at all.
That's good to go. But anyway, now how do because I was reading a comment. I was reading a comment on your on the minute. No, on the skit. Yeah, was it the skit or was it the podcast? I think it was the skit. Bruno did respond, and he was like the same things kind of happen in India. He was talking about how he enjoyed. I thought it was fascinating, but Bruno was talking about how he enjoyed listening to the American politics. He enjoyed listening to the Tuesday because he's like the same things happen kind of in India, and that kind of I was like, yeah, really? Because I always thought because they're not like they don't elect officials and they don't do it's not they don't have the same form of government, right?
It's similar. I mean, they have a democracy. They vote for their leaders.
They do.
And they have a
Okay.
constitution. Their constitution is the
Yeah, I do
largest
know they had a country.
in the world. It's like 750-page constitution. So
Okay.
and it's but as a democracy or as an independent country, I don't think they've been independent for that long. Well, yeah, it's the thing is like I was reading in the article about the economy shutting down. They had a lot of anti-Muslim stuff that came up where they were blaming Muslims for everything, and the Prime Minister Modi has like basically been cracking down on Muslims. So I guess they don't have the same type of freedom of religion or whatever that he's
Right.
anti-immigration laws that are specifically targeting Muslims, and they have like Kashmir, I guess, is a predominantly Muslim state within India, and he's doing a lot of cracking down on that particular region.
Oh, wow.
So apparently he's got different types of power than our president does. So they're
Oh,
a little bit different. Yeah,
okay.
I don't
Huh.
know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what type of, how much executive power are they divided into three branches, how their whole political system works. But apparently it's different than ours. But yeah, he was able to shut down the entire country with 4 hours notice. So
4 hours notice.
4
Wow.
hours notice, he shut down businesses and locked people in their houses. With four
Jeez.
hours.
Well, I know when Bruno was last. Yeah, go ahead.
So they did that. When he did that, he gave them 4 hours notice, and a lot of people that were from the rural areas, because most of India is rural. It's like you got these major population centers, but then most of it are living out in the countryside. You know what I mean? They have their crops and stuff like that, and so a lot of these people that went into the big cities in order to make a living, who saw their jobs instantly gone when he shut down these businesses, these people instantly their jobs were gone. They were like, I'm either going to be competing with all these people in the slums for food, or I'm going to starve to death with my family. They packed up and left to go back to their villages, back in the rural communities. So there was this
Wow.
massive reverse migration out of the big cities back into the villages. And they said that that's how a lot of the coronavirus got spread throughout the country, is this mass migration or reverse immigration out of the big cities. So they said it was like 80,000 a day, or or infection rates are like 80,000 a day. Like 80,000 more people are getting infected with corona in India per day or something like that. So the rates are through the roof. The government just made it worse. It's the same story, just on a larger scale because it's a larger country. So.
Now, I mean, do you think that is do you think that is the do you think that it would be okay well, that is the problem. Think about our president and the amount of power. You think back at Obama, you think, even Trump, and you think of it seemed like each election, each term, that position gets more and more power. I mean, it evolves in itself, self-plug, unshamefully self-plug. It evolves the power of that position every term, every president, it seems like getting more. But I'm thinking, tell me what you think. Do you think that's probably, maybe that is is that one of the solutions? If we limit the power of the president? Yes, we do. A country needs, needs a face, needs a voice, so to speak, needs that office. But maybe is the problem too much power that he has? And if we limited that power, then would everyone be happy, and libertarians included? If we limit the power, we're not saying that we need to take this office out, but this office has too much power. And then where would that power go?
Well, well, the power would go to the people. So
Right. I was looking for that.
my answer for that, right? So
Okay.
I saw
Go.
a meme.
I saw a meme. I think it was Libertarian Party of Texas.
Because libertarians want to be the president, so so I know that they're not saying, "Hey, we need to take that office out." So they want some power.
Well, we won't. We're not going to do that. I mean, we have a great system with the three branches and everything. If they all work within their means, within their purpose. The problem is they try to go outside of their purpose because of partisan politics. You know, because there's only two parties and the politics that goes into it, and so they're always trying to work outside of their purpose. But you know, and then you get an authoritarian like Trump or Obama. Obama was pretty authoritarian too. I mean, if he couldn't get what he wanted from Congress, then you know he was the one. The you know, if I can't get what I want, the power of the pen. You know, but yeah, this meme that you know what a dystopia is. So a dystopia is like the opposite.
Kind of like the opposite of like
of utopia. So
yeah.
Dystopia is like these, you know, you see it in the movies like Blade Runner and stuff, where it's just this, you know, super controlled government, you know, 1984 authoritarian, forceful thing. So this meme says, "I've never seen a dystopia where the government was too small and the people were too free."
Never seen this. Okay.
I've never read a book about a dystopia where the people were too free and the government was too small. Because almost every one of them have the same concept: is the government is forcing control over the citizenship. You know, in all of these dystopian movies that you're always watching, you know, even like Hunger Games, you know what I mean? You look at Hunger Games, dystopia, and what the government was, you know, it was government force that forced these people into the Hunger Games.
That's true.
And Revolution actually came out, you know, so all of these movies, even Star Wars could even be considered a dystopia, but I mean, what caused the dystopia? The Empire, right? So
right.
The Sith dictator. Traveling Man says I feel the reason the president gains more power is because each term of the president, the common ground between Republicans and Democrats is diminished, and more fighting and hatred between parties. Yeah, exactly what it says. The bipartisan politics that goes on. That's what's creating the power. They can't get anything done. They don't really want to get anything done because then they lose what they can campaign on. It's like with Republicans and abortion, right? Like I'm not going to get on the abortion topic, but Republicans campaign every year to be pro-life. So they have this entire group of voters who are single issue voters who only vote Republican because Republicans are pro-life. Wait,
Dave, let me stop you real quick.
They've never fixed it. You know what I mean? So you're voting pro-life, but they've never done anything about it. All they do is campaign as pro-life, and then they don't do anything.
Hey Dave, can you put the call-in number up on the screen? Can you scroll it? Traveling Man. See, Traveling Man. See, Dave, you'll like Traveling Man. See, he is super knowledgeable, and he's woke, and he's a friend of mine named James, and we kind of like me and you. They talk politics, and now he's an independent, and trying to convince him that he's actually a libertarian in his thoughts. But the subjects, the guy is super smart, and I tell him all the time. I say, you need to call in, you need to talk, and and you put number A, Traveling Man. Call in now. We want to talk to you. You're gonna call in.
I'm trying to see what his
he goes to Vegas and whatnot. He has a traveling vlog and all that good stuff.
People are waking up, so I need to go out there with my guests. So
oh yeah, you do got guests, so you get about 10 minutes. Few more minutes.
Yeah, I was looking at the time. It's an hour and 20 minutes already. I was thinking about wrapping up pretty soon.
Oh,
yeah. So I said give him a sec. I'm trying to see what I see liberty in his thing. I can't see it. You know what? Let me look on it right here. Maybe I can see it. So
give me death or give me liberty. Maybe that.
won't let me click on it. I don't know why. No, I can't. That's weird. I was trying to go like visit his. It just says "Give me liberty." Yeah.
Oh,
It might say something under the flag, but I can't see what it is. I'm trying to look at his their thing there. Make sure. I want to make sure I can answer the phone right away because we don't want to have another accident like we had in the beginning, right?
that changed them forever, man.
I know, right?
Call.
One
You
phone
know
call.
something's wrong. You know something's wrong internally. Like you may need Jesus or something. If a phone call change your whole personality.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, if a phone call, if a failure to answer a phone call,
Now it was that you were laughing at him.
it was laughing like we're doing
We were
now.
laughing.
So
We were laughing at our unprofessionalism. Actually, that's what
we're
we're
laughing
actually.
at us.
We're laughing at him. We're laughing at our own unprofessionalism, like our inability to make a phone call work between the two.
Right?
We're gonna do this awesome podcast show, and we can't even get the phone to work.
Yes, all right, right. It was booming too.
You know, right?
Oh man, yeah.
Bruno's. I don't. He hasn't. Bruno's hasn't commented if he has jumped on, but it's getting kind of late over there now. So.
Okay. No, well.
So I was looking at
yeah.
this thing.
Did you ever bring up Did you ever talk about the Trump? You sent me some. You sent me something about Trump and Libertarian. He would have ran.
Oh, let me play that real quick. Oh man, that's why I sent it to you, so I would have it for later.
Oh God.
So,
I was like, this is good stuff. That's precious.
oh, my live stream, Saturday morning live stream. Got his Niles Red Dragon shirt. Let me find that thing. So Trump was a libertarian. I did send it to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I sent it to you on Messenger.
Messenger. Yeah.
I was like, who is he talking to?
Yeah, here we go. But it comes from Twitter, so it's.
I gotta do a music reaction with Josh right now.
A music reaction.
I've been telling him I've been wanting to. Yeah.
So here we go. Trump is a libertarian.
This is
the popular vote, but people say it's important for you to win it, not because the popular vote, but people say it's important for you to win it, not because you wouldn't be president, but because it sends a message to the country, and that itself calms down. So conservatives or Republicans in blue states that would kind of like, oh, it doesn't matter if I vote. What do you tell them tonight?
I think I could win. I think I did win the popular vote in a true sense. I think there was tremendous cheating in California. There was tremendous cheating in New York and other places. And if you take a look at the libertarian, they always talk about.
First of all, California and New York do not have to cheat to win, to beat Trump. I mean, they're just Democrat. That's why they are, their infrastructure is just falling apart because they've been Democrat for so long. So
exactly.
Anyways, here's where he gets into the I'm a libertarian thing. I can't get to let's find that. Okay.
You look at the libertarian. They always talk about Jill Stein. Jill Stein took what, 0.5%?
Jill Stein's the Green Party candidate in 2016. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jill Stein. Well, I have a libertarian. I'm somewhat libertarian.
He's somewhat libertarian. He's somewhat libertarian. Somewhat.
Hey.
He's somewhat.
You gotta cut that.
Somewhat.
You gotta cut that.
No, absolutely not.
You should cut
That's
somewhat
It's interesting.
libertarian. I have to be honest with you. Rand Paul will tell you that.
Rand
I have
Paul.
a libertarian candidate on last time. They got what, 4.5% or so.
I'm a libertarian.
Republican voters. They're wasting their vote because
They're all Republican voters. Like every libertarian is a Republican voter. It's outrageous. Does he hear himself?
No, man. No.
He's like, they're all Republican. You're not even a Republican. He's a Democrat.
Look, you got to know.
He's a Democrat. Y'all know that Trump is a Democrat, right? You know Trump's a Democrat.
No, this, dude. This.
Did you guys hear what the leader of the Democratic Party had to say a couple days ago in Pittsburgh?
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. It's just, I mean, think about it.
They played this
More
on the
lives
last
this year than
podcast.
any other year for the past 100 years. More than 100.
And then somebody said it was clipped. I was like, that's not
No,
clipped.
it's not clipped.
It's not clipped. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back to Trump being a libertarian.
Rand Paul will tell you that. I have a libertarian candidate on last time. They got what, 4.5% or so. Those are all Republican voters. They're wasting their vote because they have to vote
But
for us.
this time, the popular vote would be a huge message to the
If
country.
there wasn't a libertarian undertaker, I would win the popular vote. I would have won it last time.
The popular vote.
So the whole reason he didn't win the popular vote was because there's a libertarian on the ticket. It's our fault.
Yeah. That 4%. That
Yeah,
4%.
Because all of us libertarians are actually Republicans who believe that we should have an authoritarian dictator as our freaking president. No, the reason we're all libertarians is because we didn't want to vote for you.
What if Trump would have ran under a libertarian party? What happens then? What if Trump would have ran libertarian? What would the party do?
You have to agree with our platform in order to run. You have to at least agree with the non-aggression principle. You have to agree with smaller government. You have to agree with individual liberty. I mean, you have to agree with the foundations of our principles. That's why he can't run as libertarian. If he did, he wouldn't have won. The Republican would have won because everybody was tired of the Democrat politics. So.
Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah. See, I missed the call again. It didn't even ring.
Oh, traveling callback then, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man, but
it's gonna happen again.
why didn't it ring? I mean, I got it right in front of my face right here.
Sometimes it doesn't ring with me too. It's weird. I have that with my Google Voice. What did I do to solve that? If your phone is like in like lock, when it's in the lock screen and you gotta like swipe over to like get it, it won't ring. Your phone has to be like on. If it goes dark, then Google's second voice, it doesn't work. It's weird. It doesn't ring. That's what
I had Google. I had the actual app open.
Oh, you had it open. Okay.
Here's the top.
Shut up. Yeah, I said the word Google, so Google decided that I was talking to her.
Okay, Google. There you go.
Didn't work. Probably worked for you.
No, I didn't, which is good because it probably messed up my stream anyway. Travel man, go ahead. Call back in, dude.
Hopefully it works. Our national debt is now equal to 98% of our economy, and it will exceed it next year.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, Dave.
Good morning. How's it going, man?
What's up, the traveling man? What's happening, my dude?
Good. Can you hear Evolve?
Hey, Trevor, man, what's happening there, dude?
What's going on, man? I just
How's it been? Yo, you called in. You called in. You can enlighten us.
So you're an independent leaning libertarian, huh? So
yeah.
so let me ask you, what keeps you from considering yourself a full-blown libertarian?
To be 100% honest with you, I actually don't know enough information about the Libertarian Party to make that decision. If I'm being an independent, I know I can make my own decision instead of being bound to another party and having someone represent me that maybe not 100%. Well, you're never going to get 100% a party that agrees with your own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. You're going to get a majority. But I just haven't done. It's all my fault because I haven't done the research enough on the Libertarian Party to make that decision.
No, that's cool.
I just started enlightening him like 2 weeks ago there, Dave. He just started to like, hey, maybe I'm a libertarian. Maybe because he didn't know about Joe Jorgensen. But then, you know, the more I start talking about to James, listening, we start talking politics. I was like, he been sounding a lot like David. You might like my friend Dave. You might be a libertarian or whatnot. So, but yeah, so that's the thing. I think
we're gonna do a libertarian minute. You might be a libertarian, remember?
Yeah, we were. So we need to.
Yeah. So
I actually made the comment to Mark a few days ago. I told him I feel that the Democratic Party, that they try to control the mind, what you think, what you feel, what you say, and that the Republican Party tries to more control the body, what you put in your body, who you marry, what you do, you know. But that's how I feel.
That's interesting. I
said the same thing. Yeah, he told me that. I think he told me that like 2 days ago. I was like, that's an interesting thought process there.
I'm gonna have to think on that one. I never even considered that.
Yeah, you look at, and then when he said that, I start to look at some of the policies and some of the things that they put forth, and it does ring true in many cases. You know,
well, at least that's what they talk. See, the problem is they both talk their talk during election season and on the campaign trail, but they actually both govern exactly the same. I mean, they're never going to fix immigration. They're never going to fix the war on drugs. They're never going to fix anything. They're never going to fix abortion. They're never going to fix any of the things that they run on. They just perpetuate this constant bickering and divisiveness between the two parties. I mean, the reason why I'm a libertarian, I mean, I was the same way as you. I was an independent. The reason I'm a libertarian now is because I think libertarianism is the only peaceful solution we have to this growing monstrosity of a federal government. You know, I stand by the Libertarian Party because they're the only ones that want to literally take over the country and give it back to you. You know?
So who do when you're an independent, who do independents vote for then?
Whoever they feel represents them best on the ballot. Usually when you're an independent voter, you do a lot more research. You're going to look at each candidate and see which one is best. Like I already know that I've actually personally met every libertarian that's going to be on my ballot. So I don't have no problem voting for all my libertarian candidates. But any office that doesn't have a libertarian running, I have to look at each candidate individually. So.
Okay.
And you know, each party they how they try to get their voters is by fear. If you look at the talking points for Republicans, look at the talking points for the Democrats, it's all fear-based. And like I said earlier, the Republicans, it's more of they want to try to control your body, you know, abortion and, you know, marijuana laws. And like I said earlier, the Democrats, they're more of the mind control. They want, just look at the censorship with all the Google and social media platforms that's going on right now. The liberals are trying to censor everything because they don't want thoughts and ideas out there that conflict with their own.
Yeah. You know, I could do that. Hold on. I wish my keyboard wasn't so loud.
Did you Did you ever get your laptop in?
No, it'll be here Tuesday. I thought it was going to be here today, but
Oh, okay. So, traveling man, who do you think is who wins this election this year?
Are you talking to me or Mark?
oh, that's
Traveling.
talking to you.
I couldn't really hear too well. I personally, I do hope Trump wins. I think he will win. That's my own personal belief. I just think that they have enough support, and like I said, it's a silent majority. And I think they have enough on Joe Biden because he's been in office over 40 years, and I just think his cognitive capabilities are starting to diminish very rapidly, and I think that'll be a major focal point of this election. And I just think that Trump's policies and his everything he's got going on is more in line with what I believe in, and way stronger than what the Democrat Party's putting out. That's exactly why they lost in the 2016 presidential election, because they didn't have a strong candidate, and majority of people disagree with the liberal party or the Democrat Party, and more people agree with the Republican Party, but they're just not as vocal about it.
Yeah, that's the thing is the socialist uprising in America might be the most vocal, but it's definitely not the majority. And I think the more the Democrats start separating themselves from the Republicans, the more they create this divisive, like you said earlier about, I think it was in your comment, how they lose more and more of that common ground between the Democrats and the Republicans. The more they feel like they're forced to oppose each other, that divide gets widened. Then the more you're looking at the Democrats becoming more of the socialist and the Republicans becoming more of the authoritarian. So you're looking at either a dictatorship on one side eventually, or the socialist, democratic socialist country. Either way, that you have no power as an individual. So that's why I say that voting libertarian is the only peaceful solution to this problem that just keeps. And I used to think it was, when people would tell me stuff like that, like, this is conspiracy theory, this is crazy, that'll never happen in the United States. But no, I mean, you see it happening. I mean, we have people campaigning as democratic socialists that have great, huge movements behind them, like Bernie Sanders and stuff, like Ocasio-Cortez, and these are people that are in office that are socialists. They swore an oath to support and defend a constitution that they want to throw out the window because that constitution is not socialist. So you support and defend a document that you don't even, how can you support and defend it when you're, promoting ideas that are contrary to that exact document? Yeah, I don't understand that. And then on the other side, you have Trump, who obviously has a disdain for the Constitution. That's why neither one of those parties will ever talk about the Constitution. Only on, like, I don't know, Memorial Day or Veterans Day or whatever, or 4th of July, they'll bring up the Constitution. Well, Republicans like to campaign as libertarians. They try to claim to be libertarian, like Trump we just showed. But then they govern like Democrats. They do the exact same thing the governments do. The Democrats do whenever they get into office. So I mean, it's just.
Well, I know Democrats have this big thing on Friday coming up on the September 11th. Have you seen the whole commercial? The big thing. They're doing to remember the September 11th. Going to have a bunch of old presidents and. It's going to be a huge thing. So it's remembering September 11th. Going to have planes and stuff flying over. And I was watching the whole little ad and whatnot and commercial they put out. So, and had Obama speaking. It was supposed to be a big thing.
Probably cost like millions and millions of dollars. So this was the point I got to earlier about the Trump canceling the racism training for federal employees and stuff. Because he says it's millions of dollars of taxpayer money that's going to pay for divisive training for federal employees. And I'm like, I know a lot of people, and the same thing with this party or whatever they're going to throw for 9/11, it's going to cost the taxpayer money, millions of dollars. And my question to you is, would you pay for it? If it was voluntary, it's like, would you give $10 or $1 or whatever to pay for that? If you thought, do you think that racism training for federal employees is so important that you're going to give your $1 or $5 or whatever it would cost you in order to pay for it? Is the anniversary, what is it? 2001, 11, 21. So the 19th anniversary of 9/11, not the 20th anniversary, but the 19th anniversary of 9/11, so important to you that you would spend your $5 or $10 to pay for it? You know what I mean? It's as a CEO, it's a cost benefit analysis, right? Is the benefit of those activities, do they match the cost? You're talking about costs of millions of dollars, or whether it's $10 in your pocket, to the benefit of what? What's the benefit? Like with the racism training, I mean, if they're racist, your training isn't going to change that. I guarantee it. It's not going to happen. That kind of training just doesn't work. If you're not racist, then you don't need the training. If you are racist, it's just probably going to make you even more racist because you're going to be mad that you have to sit through this training. So
19th anniversary, remembering 9/11. So they tell us. They say 9/11. They tell us
an analysis because it's not their money. It's your money.
9/11. They tell us remember 9/11, and then for slavery they're like, y'all need to forget that. That happened so long ago. Get over it.
Right?
Remember 9/11. Hey, slavery.
You didn't even know what Juneteenth was until this year, so don't even.
I didn't know what Juneteenth was.
Wait,
go ahead, James.
Oh yeah. With the conversations I've had with Mark and him informing me about the Libertarian Party and everything, I think that it's going to be an uphill battle for any other party because you have the Democrats, you have the Republicans who holds control either in the Senate or the president or another body of Congress and they're going to bury anyone else that tries to give power back to the people because once an individual gains power, they don't want to give it up.
Yeah. That's true, and I think it's not even a conscious thing. I just think it's it's kind of a subconscious thing. I just think you're absolutely right. Once you have that power, and it's like with your kids, right? When your kids want to leave the house,
that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about the people, not about the power, not about politicians, not about the president.
But the thing is, and this is in order to the counter argument for libertarians, you're absolutely right. It's an uphill battle, but we've been climbing it since 1971, and every year we virtually since 2012 we had like 500,000 votes in 2012. Or no, we had 2008 we had presidential election was like 500,000, and then in 2012 I think we broke 2 million. And then in 2016, we had like 5 million or something. So we've been virtually doubling or better than doubling every election cycle. So we're climbing that hill. And the thing about getting libertarians in the Senate and Congress is they'll be the flip votes. So when you're trying to get like right now, we have locked houses and senates. So because you're close to evenly divided, or like right now we have a Senate controlled by Republicans, we have Democrats controlling Congress. But you get 10 or 15 or 20 congressmen and libertarian congressmen in Congress, they can flip a vote in Congress. So you know what I mean? So if they get split between the Democrats and the Republicans, then the libertarians can decide whether that vote gets passed or not. If you get just enough in there. And the same thing with the Senate. If you get
Dave, you want
more senators in there, then they can decide whether those 3 or 4 libertarian senators can decide whether that vote gets, because the Democrats are going to vote Democrat, the Republicans are going to vote Republican. So those few libertarian senators can choose whether that vote passes or not. So just having a few libertarians in there would be the absolute power for the Libertarian Party.
Right.
Dave, you want to explain to the traveling man kind of how it's not impossible. You did a really good job a few podcasts ago. Kind of how it's not impossible for a libertarian, for Jo Jorgensen, the route that could happen, because she doesn't need to get all the electoral. I mean, you explained that real well.
Yeah. The other wasted vote thing that a lot of people give about voting libertarian is that she can't win. She can't win. She doesn't have to win. According to the U.S. election law, all she has to do is stop the Democrats or Republicans from winning. So basically, you have to get 270 electoral votes in order to win the presidency. So if Jo Jorgensen wins enough states, which she can win as few as 1 or 2 states, and prevent Biden or Trump from getting the 270. So if neither of the old party candidates get the 270 electoral votes, then it will go to the House in order to decide who becomes president. The House of Representatives, Congress gets to choose who becomes president. So there's like 58 people in Congress. So they would choose. And so however many electors there are, that's how many representatives are in Congress. So you get 1 elector per representative. So every state gets 1 vote out of that. So they have to agree. The state has to agree on who they vote for. Now, every state has a mix of Democrats and Republicans. And there's no way you're going to get a Democrat to agree to vote for Trump. And there's no way you're going to get a Republican to agree to vote for Biden. So the only ones that they can agree on would be to vote for the third party candidate. And if you don't agree, if the Congress cannot decide on who the next president's going to be, if it's deadlocked or if it's a tie, then it goes to the Senate. And like right now, it's controlled by Republicans, but it could flip in the election. So if you don't decide if the Congress doesn't decide who the president is by January 20th, then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate will pick who picks the vice president anyways. The vice president would become president.
Huh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to win. She just has to prevent Biden or Trump from getting 270 electoral votes, and it throws this giant monkey wrench into the whole system. And the Democrats and Republicans, the only way that they're going to be able to save face and survive politically without committing political suicide by agreeing to vote for Trump or Biden would be to vote for Jo Jorgensen, to vote for the third party.
With what Mark has been telling me and reporting about the Libertarian Party, if you look at the talking points or the principles of each party, and you look at the talking points or the morals or beliefs of the Libertarian Party, it's appealing to both Democrats and Republicans. And I don't understand, from what you've been telling me right now, why more people aren't voting for them, because you're going to appeal to the Republicans because the Libertarians don't want to take away any of your rights. They actually want to instill your rights. And then they also believe in letting you have the free choice to do with your body what you want. So,
the only ones that absolutely would be anti-libertarian would be socialists, because libertarians do not believe in the welfare state. They believe in the free market, and they believe in volunteerism and stuff like that. So our libertarian philosophy is literally don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
Right. So why isn't the Libertarian Party more appealing to other people? Is it just lack of knowledge?
Exactly.
Is it because you believe the media is trying to bury anything? Because if you ask the average person, they're going to tell you, I know who the Republican candidate is, I know who the Democratic candidate is, and I know there's an independent, but I don't know who it is. If you tell them libertarian, they're not going to know what you're talking about most of the time.
Well, yeah, and most people think libertarian is liberal. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's absolutely not. Well, it is kind of in a way, but I mean, we have some liberal philosophies like, ending the war on drugs, and, people should be able to marry whoever they want, and they consume whatever they want, and love whoever they want. And, people should be, free to pretty much do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else or, impose on other people's freedom.
Exactly how I feel 100% of the way If it doesn't directly affect you, why are you concerned with it?
Yeah.
That has bothered me my entire life. When I see Democrats and see Republicans so worried about what you think or what you're doing, or it's none of your business. As long as I'm not harming anyone directly or indirectly, it should be none of their business.
Government's only function should be to defend your freedoms and liberty by the Constitution. I mean, that's government's purpose, is defending your liberty and freedoms. So, and the reason why is because there's no reason for media to cover the libertarians. For one, I mean, we have a scary message. We would remove, if our message got out to the general population, then it would remove massive amounts of power that they have and control that the media has over the primary parties. And to be honest, corporations don't have much to gain. Major corporations don't have much to gain from libertarian principles either, because in a free market system, the little guy can compete against Amazon. You know what I mean? Amazon can't control or can't fund political campaigns that would support them through regulation and tax law, and stifle their competition through regulation and tax law like they do now. So, in a free market,
Amazon. Let's not talk too bad about Amazon. I respect Amazon. That's the only big billionaire business that I do.
It's the biggest one I can think of off the top of my head. It applies to everybody. It applies to Walmart, pharmaceutical companies,
I respect Amazon.
The auto industry, the banking industry, the oil industry. It applies to all those industries across the board. When was the last time you saw a small upstart oil company? I rest my case. Why is that? Because they get regulated out of business.
Okay, so is libertarianism, is it more, would you say it's more liberal or more lean? Which one do it lean more to? Liberal or anarchy? Anarchism? More of an anarchy mindset, or more of an anarchy mindset, or more of a liberal mindset?
Those things can exist in the same. You're in two separate areas there. Anarchy is more of a society.
Society, okay.
Belief. Liberalism is more of an individual thought process. So those two things can exist together. So like liberal, the flip side of liberalism is conservatism. The flip side of anarchy is, dictatorship or government control. So absolute control. So anarchy is the absence of law. Some definitions say it's a disorder resulting from the absence of law, but I think that's false. That's falsifying it. I think anarchy is just the absence of law.
Yeah, that's probably a podcast on itself, really breaking down anarchy and that's a podcast.
If you're asking if libertarians are more liberal or conservative, I would say neither or both. It all depends. It's like this. If you're a liberal, then you're welcome in the Libertarian Party. We believe in what we feel that you should be allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in. And we'll welcome liberal in our party as long as you don't believe in forcing those liberal beliefs on other people. And if you're a conservative, you're welcome in the Libertarian Party as well. And we'll welcome you with open arms. We love conservatives as well, as long as you don't believe in forcing those conservative beliefs on other people with government force. I mean, that's the whole purpose. Are we liberal or conservative? We're neither and we're both, because we can believe in anything we want. It's the fact that we don't believe that the government has a right to force those beliefs on other people. I mean, that's the thing. It's all about government force. It's not about what you believe or where you're leaning.
I see.
Talking about voting and everything, and if you look at the breakdown of the white vote, it's almost split. I think it's 54% and 46% for Democrats and Republicans. If you look at the minority, African Americans, they vote 90% Democrat, and it's like they're, I hate to say it, but it's like, why are they so I don't know the words I'm looking for. Why are they so willing to go ahead and vote for the same party and not get different results? definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah, you sound like Ice-T. Ice-T just came out with a video that said the same thing.
Oh, you didn't see that.
They're not doing nothing for us. Why we keep voting for them when they're not doing nothing for us? It's absolutely right. And well, I mean, because they're the Democratic Party is the party for the poor, is what they try to put themselves out to be, is the party for the poor. But in reality, they don't do anything but try to keep people poor. You know, they want you to stay poor so that you'll keep voting for them, since they're the party for the poor. You know, there's no incentive to succeed in the poverty system or the welfare system that we have in a country. But that's what I mean, because black people actually are disproportionately in poverty. You know, not all of them are rich like Evolve. You know what I mean? So.
And I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying that's listening or who later on see this video or whatever. But my question is, why is it when it comes to minority that they're not more of a free thinker? They're chained to the Democratic Party. And if you look at the white vote, they're almost evenly split. They're almost like, you know, you could, you know, vote for whoever you want to, think whatever you want to, but it seems like when it comes to minorities, they're chained to the Democratic Party.
That's an excellent vote. I mean, excellent point. And I've asked myself that question, and I've even asked some, you know, of my African American friends, same thing. You know, why? And they're like, oh, because, you know, Trump is a racist. And I was like, okay, but what about, you know, before this? You know, what about, you know, all the elections prior to this, going back to, you know, however long you can go back. So what do you think, Evolve? Why have you been voting Democrat, Joe?
I was thinking I'm almost done with these barbecue chips. I was almost done with these barbecue chips. No, I was just listening. You know,
well, it's like
you
evangelical.
know, Dave, I think you hit on it real good, and you said something very revealing, and it speaks in you know.
Yeah.
Or conservative.
So what were you saying, Evolve?
No, I was saying you I mean, you hit on something that's super revealing, and it was really good. I don't even know if you well, of course you understood what you were saying, but if you realize just how great it was. But you spoke to how, you know, there's no incentive that the Democrat, that a big part of their time and their effort has to go, and that, when I say time and effort, I mean their bills, their laws, their regulations, and different things that they produce, their welfare. You know, a big part of it, they spend a lot of their time creating poor. I mean, it's funny that poor has become a verb in this case, but they create poor because usually, as you get, the way the Republicans and Democrats is now, is that the rich, those that are rich or is at least somewhat wealthy, you tend to fall more towards the Republicans, more towards them, because they're a lot of their incentives, you know, is driven towards those people. So the Democrats, they specialize in, okay, what do poor people like? Welfare. Okay, what do poor people like? Cheap housing. What do poor people like? So they have to cater, they have to create poor, to stay in their place. They're creating, like I said, poor has become a verb, and they cater to it, but yeah, that's I found that super revealing when you say that, just kind of explaining, that they literally have to. Because if they don't create these programs, if they don't create Republicans, they win every year. They would, but they do such a good job of creating this state of poor, and that they have to. And that's why, the blacks and the poors, a lot have to, they flock to them. They get these things, and they make them feel, and, it's a sense of security. And Republicans don't seem to care. They feel that, Republicans don't care because they don't offer these programs. They want to take these programs away. They want to, so it's this mirage, it's this illusion of help. But once again, it's just a just a mirage. You know, it's just a mirage. When you look beyond it, it's keeping you poor. Yeah, the only thing that it's not making you wealthy, it's not helping you, but it's keeping you poor. It's keeping you there. They're creating it. So but there's not a mirage of hope. There's no elevation. There's no evolve. You're not evolving, but you are keeping to the status quo. Then you can't say that these programs are not helping, and these programs are not giving food and not don't have these blacks and don't have us in housing. You can't say they all, but what they're not doing is what they look. But yeah, these programs, it does create housing. It does have housing for them. It does feed us. It does give us food stamps. You know, it does have this, but it keeps us there, and it never gets us there, because if we get there, then we become on a different kind of, we might there, then the Republicans might seem more appealing to us.
I see what you're getting at. You know, it's like they have this incentive to keep people poor because they pander to the poor. And if there was an incentive that was for, if they incentivized people out of poverty and created wealth, then they feel that they would vote Republican, right? Because you said the wealthy normally vote Republican. So if we lifted African Americans out of poverty and created wealth, then they would shift parties and start voting Republican. And you kind of see that. You see wealthier African Americans voting and coming out as Republicans and stuff.
Yeah, my brother's a Republican. He's voting Trump now. I mean, my brother, he got in the Border Patrol. Like, he used to vote Democrat years ago when he first got in the military. When he first became a Marine, I think in like 2000 or nope. Yep, he probably even later than that. My brother retired, but maybe 98. But you know, Democrat, and you know, he'd start getting up, and you know, he'd be he start getting up and he start voting Republican like 207. I mean, you could see, I see the switch even with my own brother, you know, as far as from that transition from Democrat, and it did speak to his position. It did speak to his finances. It did speak, because a lot of the stuff, as he got older and as he got more money, and as you know, he got a family, and as he even got a little small business, and as my sister-in-law, you know, got her hair salon and whatnot, you know, they stopped Democrat. Everything that Democrat had for them, they didn't need the welfare. They didn't need the housing. They didn't need none of that the Democrats did. They needed these breaks. They needed the tax break. They needed the stuff that was appealing to Republicans. So he switched. You know, he's a Republican now. So they didn't need that no more.
Yeah, and I wonder if that divisiveness isn't perpetuated in order just to keep this competition going, in order to, you know, because this is elections are multi-million-dollar events as well. You know, there's so much money that goes into these things. It's crazy. It just, you know, it's taxpayers just throwing money at candidates and stuff because of this fear politics. I mean, it's every other day I'm getting something in the mail, you know, from another politician that's asking for money, you know, including Joe Jorgensen. But, you know, George Jorgensen's not funded by any corporations or any multi-million-dollar donors. You know, we have maybe we have a few millionaire libertarians out there. You know, there's quite a few, but you know, it's just the way it is, you know. So I think a lot of it is complacency too. I think that a lot of the communities, including African Americans and minorities, and to be honest, a large portion of, you know, everybody, just citizens in general, are just politically complacent. They are so disgusted with the fear and divisive politics, and I mean, you look at like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, and you know, everything that goes on in politics, they're constantly shoved down your throat through CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and all that stuff. They just get so, you know, bombarded with the stuff. They just basically shut down, and I'm like, I'm just going to vote straight Democrat. I'm just going to vote straight Republican, and I don't want to deal with this stuff, you know. And it's a shame that you know, our politics, as usual, or our old parties, our politicians are driving people away from the political process and even learning about your candidates and stuff and policies.
Now, what is the viewpoint of the libertarian when it comes to finances and money? I heard your comment about creating wealth. You hear some people say you can't create wealth. You'll hear people say about distribution of wealth. If you don't mind me asking, what is the viewpoint of the Libertarian Party when it comes to wealth and creation of wealth and distribution of wealth and everything?
Well, there would be no redistribution of wealth. See, the
I don't agree with it, but I'm
yeah.
just asking.
Libertarians
is it aware or doesn't know or
So libertarians, I mean, you just in the future, if you're thinking of what a libertarian stance is, it's like I said, we believe that the government's entire purpose is just to protect our individual rights and liberties based off of the Constitution. So we believe in a completely free market system that very limited regulation just to prevent fraud, releasing, people keeping more of their own tax money in order to, spend it in the economy, very limited regulations, if any regulation at all. Most of this industries would be completely deregulated, or regulation would be privatized. It wouldn't be regulated by the government, because once you allow the government to regulate something, then you allow bureaucracies and you allow them to be paid. So you fund people's campaigns in order to get regulation to work in your favor. So if it's a private organization and you do that, then that private organization would lose their, they wouldn't be edified anymore. They wouldn't, we can't trust them because they're being paid by somebody else. So like Consumer Reports is a good thing. So completely free market, really, or as close as we can get to it.
You hear the Democratic Party, they're the one that talk about the redistribution of wealth. And I have this little analogy about it. They talk about taking from the rich and giving it to the poor. So the poor is no longer poor. They are middle class, or at least not struggling as much.
Yeah.
If you take a man who has food and you give it to the man who has none, the man who had food is now hungry.
Yeah.
So he made the rich man poor, and the rich man, due to his own fortitude and initiative and his drive, he created that wealth.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it's funny because they try to, you want to encourage a system that encourages people to create wealth and innovate and find different ways in order to make money and succeed. And the first thing you got to consider, like if you're going to think about opening a business, what's the first thing you have to consider? What government license do I need to do, right? The first thing you got to figure out is how the government's going to allow me to do it. And that shouldn't be the case. It should be, I want to open up a business. Where am I going to buy my property? Who am I going to buy my property from? Or something like that. What website am I going to use?
Because there's so many times where people are actually hindered, or they don't want to do it because just the hoops they have to jump through, or the paperwork they have to fill out just to get the license or get the okay from someone in government.
Yeah. So a free market system, almost, I couldn't even think of how, off the top of my head, I couldn't think of a regulation or a license that we could not eliminate, one way or another. Even with the medical industry, I don't think the government should be regulating the medical industry. They can regulate themselves. So we got some chat going on. Magnetic vortex resonance. Watching from Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, Scientific Research and Development. Thank you. You're welcome. If you want to know who is in the pocket of the CCP, listen to who is using the Chinese Communist Party talking points verbatim. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Looks like we got an anti-Democrat here. All the news, the CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS have been waging war against the American people for decades. I don't know if I agree with that completely, but I'll give you some insight from people at the top secret classified G13 special access program behind the green door. I like this guy. It's one of your conspiracy theorists, guys. No kidding. If you want to see what the United States will be doing tomorrow, look at what China is doing today. The Constitution of the United States was created to enslave people. Oh, I gotta put this. Let's see if I can show that one. The Constitution of the United States was created to enslave the government, because if you don't enslave the government will enslave the people. That's a good one. That's a tweet right there. I'm gonna tweet that out. If you don't mind, I'm gonna tweet that out if I can figure out how to copy it.
Dave, I wanna thank you for having me on.
The Constitution was
Las Vegas right now, so I gotta end this call. Thanks for talking with me, and Mark, thank you also. And,
hey, yeah, what's up? Yeah, thanks you, Travel Man. Hey, and thanks. Yeah, for sure. And thanks for the insight in some of our videos I'm gonna put up today. You gave me some great recommendations. So it's Saturdays. I got the time. I'm gonna go through them. So be looking for them, man. I know you sub. So.
On those two travel guys that I did a YouTube video on, I had a little problem uploading the video and I had to re-upload it, but it is up there if you want to check it out, Mark.
Oh, you got a YouTube channel, Travel Man?
Yeah, go ahead, plug them, Dave.
All right, let me see. Let me look you up real quick. Yeah, I'll plug you after you go. I know you got to get off the phone. Appreciate you calling in, man. Anytime. It's good.
All right, yeah, definitely. I will definitely be calling in again in the near future. I really enjoyed the conversation and the discussion topics we had, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem, man. Appreciate it.
Later, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think his channel is The Traveling Man, and like this guy travels like different states and whatnot, and he's just now starting to push it. I got him hooked up, but he's always traveling, like every weekend, just doing stuff. And I was like, hey, you should like do your YouTube and really push it. And he's like, I ain't got editing, so I'm in the same process that I started with him. So he download thumbnail creator, he download power director, he download he download the background transparent. He's been working. So yeah.
I think it's a process, but
so yeah, he's just starting to work all that stuff. So it'd be interesting and all that good stuff. But yeah, I
can't find trying to find his channel. There's a lot of
The Traveling Man. Oh, can you click on him? Can't you just click on his?
It won't let me for some reason. I tried to do that.
Oh.
I tried to like view profile or whatever. It's not letting me click. You know what? Maybe I could do it in the actual stream instead. But yeah, this went longer than I expected, but it's all good.
Hey, and Traveling Man, if you still on, just leave a comment on Dave's video. That way he can just get to you. That'll work too.
Yeah. Give it to me, or Magnetic Resonance is still talking here. So can I? No, it still won't let me. I don't know why I can't just click on him and open his channel. I can put him in timeout though. He says UFOs are real. Some are property we own, and some are off-world devices. Most are what is witnessed as ours. Okay. There's been so much secrecy and disinformation over the past 80 years that it's become possible to prove anything in the face of official denial. It's kind of true. Life exists all around us. We're visited all the time, and our civilian space program has found all kinds of things on the moon to indicate civilizations previous, if not current.
Hey, dude, is Eminem Illuminati?
No, boy. Here we go.
That's what it sounds. He's like, we're visited every time, all day. I don't know. I've heard that before.
Anyways, next on Evolve is Eminem Illuminati. I can't get it to. I don't know why I can't get that to open up, man. It's irritating. Now I was looking for his profile pic. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's rough.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll put it in the comments.
At this stage, we are too intellectually and technologically feeble to detect, much less comprehend, the kind of communication that's occurring amongst much more advanced species. Eminem is at the bottom rung.
He's a nobody.
He's got a long line. All right, I
nobody.
they're starting to wake up. Breakfast time coming up pretty soon, so I gotta get going. Appreciate you
Same.
coming up. Appreciate y'all watching.
Yeah, let me get going, dude. Let me get some stuff done. I'll talk to you. Mañana, I guess, sometime.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll go from there, dude.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get going later there. Podcasters. Wait, what do you call your you still ain't got a name for your peoples. See, we got evolvers.
Libertarians?
Devolvers.
I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough
He's
one.
like, there you go. All right, later there, dude. I'll talk to you.
All right, man. KIP.
KIP. Keep it positive.
All right, I got to get off here too. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for coming on, Magnetic Vortex. Anybody who's commenting and stuff, Traveling Man, for calling in. Wow. Man, you need to come back on, Magnetic Vortex, because I would love to have this conversation with you, getting into spatial anomalies and stuff like that, because I always like to dig into stuff like that for some reason. It's just fun, but I gotta go. Really, it's been great. We've been out here for 2 hours now. Shoot, I wanted to. You know what I do? I always like to share a scripture at the end of my podcasts, and so I do have one. You have to give me a second. I don't have the Bible memorized. I wish I did, but I don't. But I do have. Thank you, you too, man. Have a blessed day as well. I'm gonna go hang out with family and stuff. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So this is when it comes to that fear and stuff like that. This is John 16:33. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So basically saying through Christ, through God, and through Christ, we can overcome the world. And it's only through Christ. It's not through government or authority, but through our freedoms to worship and glorify God that we can and will succeed. So appreciate y'all coming on. I love y'all. Remember to love your neighbor. And KIP, keep it positive. Peace out, everybody. Have a blessed day.